A lot of people who are worried about this economy right now, and particularly we've heard at the station from a lot of seniors. Sam Barnes writes in, I'm planning on retiring this year at 65 and a half. I need advice on what to do with my small, he says, 403B to avoid being penalized tax-wise.
First of all, if there's any way to continue working at all, I would continue working a little bit. You want to defer taking the money out of the 401k, the 403b, whatever sort of plan you have, as long as possible, particularly now, because you want to give that money as much time as you can to allow it to grow, to come back, to maintain the tax deferrals. Plus, from a health perspective, part-time work is really good for people. It keeps you alive, it keeps you active, it keeps you vital, and you live longer if you're out and if you're energetic. So I would encourage that. As far as those withdrawals go, take small withdrawals during the first years of retirement, 4% or less of the balance.
Is it hard to get people right now not to panic and to say, because now that if people pull their money out right now, it's the worst time to pull it out.
Yeah, well, first of all, the pulling out is different than the reallocating of assets. And I get this question all the time. Should I not contribute to my 401k? Should I pull the money out of my 401k? No. If you're concerned that you are going to lose more within that 401k, and if you can't stomach that, and for some people they simply can't, you don't pull it out, because then you take a huge hit, taxes and penalties. You just move it within the account to safety. You move it within the 401k or even within the college savings plan to a more conservative option. So that's the message that we really want to get to people. Don't panic and make one of those tax-foolish decisions that's going to hurt you in the long run.
Paula Griffith writes in saying, 10 years ago I invested $10,000. She names the wealth management firm. I won't, but I'll just say with a wealth management firm, which invested her money. It's currently worth about $8,000. She says we pay a $75 fee to them for their investment help and pay tax on the dividends, and wonder if we shouldn't just cut our losses and take it out to put it into S&P 500 investments.
If she's not valuing the advice that she is paying for, there is no problem with moving it. Part of the, and by the way, 10,000 to 8,000 is not such a huge hit in this particular environment, but it doesn't sound to me as if she's getting the financial advice, the comfort from this relationship that she should be based on the fee that she's paying. I think that working with a financial advisor is kind of like working with a doctor. If you're dealing with someone where you can't have an open, honest conversation about what you want in the future and the fears that you are having right now, wrong person for you. You make a change.
Let's big picture of this then. Leah writes in saying, what do you advise is the best place to invest at this time?
I think diversification is really, really key. I can tell you what I am doing. I'm continuing to put money into my 401k, continuing to put money into my IRAs across all asset classes, including real estate, including precious metals, because I don't know when the market is going to make its turn and come back. But I can tell you that history tells me that when it happens, it will happen quickly and it will happen unpredictably, and I don't want to be missing it because I have decided not to dollar cost average. So I am just buying at all levels, biding my time, and knowing, historically at least, that it should come back sometime within the next 5-10 years. That said, I know 5-10 years is a long time, which is why if you've got short-term assets that you need to pay the college tuition next year, that you need to put the down payment on a house, it doesn't belong in the market. Never belonged in the market, by the way. And if you can't take any further losses on that money, you got to take the hit and move it to safety now.
We've got a lot of questions about the housing area, and I just wanted to ask you a couple. Andre and Aurora writes in saying I have an adjustable interest-only loan. Can't refinance right now because what I owe, because of declining values, is pretty close to the current value of the house. What are his options?
His options are to wait it out a little bit, pay down the mortgage a little bit. I would go back to the lender, Because if you're truly having trouble making the mortgage payments, part of what we're seeing with the $50 billion that's put aside for housing in the stimulus package, and by the way, we have yet to see full details on how that is going to work, but the markets were stuck. The lenders were stuck. A lot of them are still stuck, but we're starting to see movement. And so if you've called your lender and you've gotten no relief whatsoever, it's worth it to pick the phone up and call again now and again in 2 weeks and again in 2 weeks from that, because we're not exactly sure when the machinations are going to fully pick up and take over, but you don't want to miss that.
They always say, too, that lenders don't want homeowners who can't pay.
Well, and they don't want your house. I mean, that's the other thing. They don't want homeowners who can't pay, and they don't want your house. And what we're seeing with the credit card companies is if they suspect by looking at your credit score, or perhaps because you've missed a payment, that you are not going to be able to pay them off, they are calling you and they are cutting deals and routinely lowering interest rates to zero and saying, don't use the card anymore, but pay me $50 a month. A lot of people getting relief from that. We expect that the mortgage market will eventually move the same way. At least that's the big hope, and that's what it's going to take for our economy to start to rebound and for real estate prices to stabilize.
Katie Davis writes in another question as it relates to kind of adjustable rates. Are you recommending people be in adjustable rates these days, or should they go fixed?
It really doesn't pay to be in an adjustable rate mortgage these days. The rates on 30-year fixed rate loans and 15-year fixed rate loans are so incredibly low. I was watching television just this morning, 5.15%, which means, and that's the average, which means you may be able to sneak in the high fours.
How popular are you these days with your friends and family members? I mean,
well, I hope my friends and family always like me, by the way, but I'm busy. But if we can do something to help people understand what's going on with their money, that's why we're here.
Jean Chatzky, financial editor from the Today Show. Thank you so much for being with us on your show.
My pleasure. Thanks.